Hi, thank you guys for joining Gordon's Nursery. So we have little Miss Ebony here, and Ebony's sitting in for story time. So this month, I decided that I was going to do something different for you guys. And so whether or not you hear this at nighttime, I'm trying to get her situated so that I don't have to keep moving. So um, whether you do this at nighttime, the parents that you listen to it at nighttime, or um, in the daytime, I'm going to do something a little different for my stories today. This at least this month, and I may read you another story, but for now, let's focus on what I'm doing here. I need you guys to be able to come back, play these things that I read you. There's going to be times when you go to school, you're gonna have to do a project on something, and this is going to help you out a lot. Um, the month of February is is pretty much given Black History Month, and what that means is that they give credit during that month to those that are Black African Americans or Black Americans that achieved a lot or accomplished things here in the United States, who have done a lot of things for us as a group, and just not for us, but for other um, races as well, um, to include, to even perhaps join um, just equal um, um, equal opportunities. And so this is more of an educational thing. So I need you guys to listen up, okay? And I need you to open your ears, and I need you to hear me, and I need you to learn some things, because it's important that you know your history, know where you come from. These things, these people that I'm about to talk about, um, some of them will be spoken of, and then there's a lot of that will not be spoken of in your school or whatever school that you may attend, because this is not something that's always taught in the school. So most of the throughout the years, throughout the months in your school, you won't hear a lot about them. The only time you may hear something about any of them that I talk about now would be in the month of February. So I'm going to do this for you guys, and you guys will always be able to come back to the channel and look this up and be able to do projects on any one of these people that I read. So this is something from me to you guys. So I'm going to read two of them. And the book is, the way it's set up is 44. The Fierce 44 is what they call it. And it's a Black American who shook up the world. And this is written by the staff of the Undefeated, portraits by Robert Ball. Okay, I'm going to read you the first, and I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of pages. So this first page is how it began, or how it was written. So I'm going to read that, and it's okay if you guys ask your parents, right? If you ask your parents to sit in with you and listen with you, so you guys can talk over about what you read, and hopefully you guys can teach your parents some things, because even as parents, right, we don't know everything, and so you guys help us a lot with learning. So you guys, that's why Ebony's here. She's going to help me too, okay? So you guys be able to listen. So I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to start showing you pictures afterwards, okay? So on Sunday, before his inauguration as the 44th president of the United States in 2009, Barack H. Obama summoned history in an address he delivered at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Abraham Lincoln, enthroned inside the memorial, was among the 43rd American president who preceded Obama. Right? That's something to remember. But that wasn't the only history behind him. On the eve of his swearing in as the first Black president, Obama was standing on a far firmer foundation. The history of the African American people, the pioneer Black historian Carter G. Woodson once wrote that the accounts of the successful strivings of Negroes for enlightenment under most advised circumstances read like beautiful romances of a people in an heroic age. The, those striving were interwoven with every president who came before Obama, pushing the country to live up to the ideals of freedom and equal human rights that it had articulated at its founding, even as it retreated from them during both the long age of enslavement and the long retreat from Reconstruction after the Civil War that marked the native of race relationships in the United States. Just listen, because I know this is not a lot, but as you get older, you'll understand. Okay, so just be patient. Okay, just listen, be good and listen. Today we need those beautiful romances more than ever. The pages that follow in this gorgeous reminder, the Fierce 44 field that needed the biographies of Undefeated Inside, exemplary truth and models of action that will be a source of comfort, enlightenment, and courage to every reader. Although this is anything but a comprehensive list of the great heroes of our tradition, it serves up a rousing glimpse of a people who paved the way for our moment of reckoning. I have no doubt you will be inspired to study their lives as I have been. And Henry Louis Gates Jr. is the one that wrote this book for you guys. All right. So the first one we're going to read about is Robert Abbott, right? Robert Abbott is his name. Okay. So this is Robert Abbott. This is the guy, Robert Abbott. So now remember his face, and I'm going to read you guys about Robert Abbott, okay? Robert Abbott, the founder of the Chicago Defender. Now, Chicago is another state from where you don't live, and then some of you may live in Chicago. I don't know. There may be other kids that may come on and listen to this. He was born in 1870. In 1940, he died, okay? So in 1905, Robert Abbott started the Chicago Defender, one of the most important black newspapers in history. You hear that? He's the most important newspaper in history. Robert Abbott did that, okay? Robert Abbott is the one that made one of the most important black newspapers in history. You gotta remember the name. What did he do? He was one of the most important black newspapers. He started that in Chicago. He started the most important black newspaper in history with just 25 cents. Can you believe that? Just 25 cents. The equivalent of about $7 today. So his 25 cents was like $7. That 25 cents was a lot of money to him. What began as a weekly 4-page pamphlet distributed in the city's black neighborhoods quickly grew into a national publication with a readership of more than 500,000. So almost 500,000 people were reading his paper. Isn't that something? So let me read that again. From distributed in the city's black neighborhoods quickly grew. So he was doing it in the neighborhoods at first, and then it grew, right? It grew into a national publication where more than 500,000 people were reading his paper. Robert Abbott did that, all right? The success of the Defender made Abbott, the son of former slaves, into one of the nation's most prominent black millionaires, which means he was one of the most prestigious, the most profound, like the most important, right? Black millionaires, and paved the way for other successful black publishers, right? So now we have people writing books. Like I've read you some stories, right, with people that were black artists or are black artists, and you may have even heard about black artists. So Robert Abbott, is one of those people that began that pavement for those people to be able to read, okay, to be able to publish books. At the Defender, Abbott encouraged a great migration in which 6 million African Americans fled the poverty and rationally motivated violence of the South from new lives in the West, Northeast, and Midwest. Many of them settled in Chicago, where manufactured jobs were opening up as World War I approached. Abbott was a natural hustler, which helped his reputation and the paper's circulation. When the defender was initially banned by the white authorities in the South because it encouraged African Americans to abandon the area and headed north, Abbott, who was born in Georgia, how about that? He was born in Georgia, so you guys got some more information, right? Abbott, who was born in Georgia, used a network of black railroad um, potters to superstitiously distribute the papers in southern states. His legacy lives on today in black publications such as Essence and Black Enterprise. Good information for you guys to know. So, because he gave a voice to the voiceless, we, you, right? You, me, right? The big companies, Essence, which is a black owned business. Black Enterprise is another magazine business. It's big. We have other um, we have other people that write books. We have young folks that write books. I know a little young lady. She at this during this time, it's about a couple of years ago. She was only 8 and she wrote her first book. Beautiful book. And I need to get it so I can read it to you guys. But this is the person that paved the way for her. So if she can do it, and other black Americans can do it, guess what? You can write a book too. So I want you to be encouraged to write a book. Okay, just start writing stories. Write down. Just sit there and think of things, and just start writing stuff on paper. See how successful you can become, because you can do it without anybody telling you what you can't do. You can do it. If Robert Abbott did it and he opened those doorways for you, you can do it. So I think I want to leave with that. I'm going to try to read you another one, but because I read the beginning of the book, I don't want you guys to get bored. But I do want you to know that you need to start thinking like, I want to do something too, right? I want to do something so people will know that I'm leaving something behind. So this is like a legacy. A legacy is like something you leave behind for like your kids, even though you are kids now, but you can even grow up to be adults and let people know about you. People will find out about you just because of some of the things that you've done. So I want you to start thinking about like, let's say, for starters, you could write about like one day you woke up and you were hungry and you decided you wanted pancakes instead of cereal. You can write about that. Or you can write about how maybe you woke up Christmas morning and you and your siblings shared toys, or your sibling bought you something, or you bought your sibling something, or your mom or your dad or whatever. So these are the things that I want you guys to start writing about, right? So go ahead, think about what I said. I have to put my glasses back up because it's like really hurts my eyes. Think about what I said, and who was the guy that was the founder of Chicago Defender newspaper? Who was it? I hope you remember his name. And some of you may be shouting out Robert Abbott, which is right. So that's a person that you guys would know about. So again, Robert Abbott was born in 1870 and he passed away 1940. All right. And he was what the most important he started, right? He started the most important black newspaper in history in Chicago. But he was born where? In Georgia, right? He was born in Georgia. And he opened a pathway for journalists, for black Americans to start writing, basically. And where he started his paper, it was just within his community. And it blowed up, right? And there was millions of people reading his paper afterwards. And the people down south, right, did not want to listen. They didn't want that. He went up north. Up north is in Chicago, Michigan, New York. Those places are up north, right? So he left Georgia, which is part of the South, and he went up north. And those people up there were reading his paper. And he had sources to come to send his information back. And they sent it down south. So I want you guys to be encouraged to know that Mr. Abbott, Robert Abbott, made a paveway for you all to be able to do the same. You can write and you can dream. You can write poetry. You can write anything you want. You can become just as good as Mr. Abbott and write books, write poetry. You can even, heck, you can even get a segment in the newspaper and write. But you gotta practice writing and you need to finish school. Um, you have to finish school because this is the society which we live in. However, it does not limit you. Just because they say you are, just because they say you're not on their level does not mean that you don't know how to do something. Remember that. You're always smart. You're always intelligent. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not. So that's something I want to leave you with. This video has been long. Me and Ebony want to thank you guys for joining Gordon's Nursery, and we ask that you come back because we're going to read something else upon the next writer or the next person that we're going to talk about. All right. Thanks again. Give us a thumbs up for this video, like us, subscribe, and be ready to hit that bell so you'll know when we're coming back. All right. Bye-bye.